All right, Stefan, welcome. How are you today?
I'm good. Hi, Brian. Good to
Yeah,
meet you
it's,
here.
it's morning here and I guess afternoon there, right?
Afternoon in Germany, but I brought my coffee cup.
Nice. I like it. I like it. Good deal. All right. Well, man, I appreciate you spending some time with me today to talk about Miley and some other topics.
My
So,
pleasure.
yeah, so I guess to kick off the conversation, I guess for those watching who may not necessarily be familiar with Miley, can you maybe give us an overview of who you are, what you do, that sort of thing?
Sure. So the company MEYLE, or with the holding Wolf Gardner Auto Parts, we are a Hamburg-based manufacturer for spare parts in the independent automotive aftermarket.
Okay.
The company was founded in the 1950s, in the early 1950s. And the history is that the founder of the company actually used to live in South America, and he used to race cars in South America. And
Okay.
after a couple of, let's say, accidents or worn out parts, he was missing some high quality spare parts. And so that's where his idea came up. And so he founded our company and started exporting parts from Germany to South America.
Okay.
To serve himself and his cars with good quality parts. And from there, it came up that we thought, hey, there must be a better option, a better solution to even further develop all these parts, maybe to have a bigger advantage in with race cars and motorsports.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where it came to that we bought the brand Miley. And a short time after we bought the brand Miley, we also became a real manufacturer for steering and suspension parts.
Oh, okay.
So we have actually two own plants, international plants, and a lot of partnership factories, a lot of partners with our own subsidiaries. So where we produce our own parts or according to our own specifications and requirements.
Okay, got it. Now, so
About
today, are you all supplying mainly to like automotive aftermarket, commercial vehicle aftermarket? Is it a little bit of both?
It's actually both. Of course, the biggest or the main part is the passenger car aftermarket. But of course, we have our commercial vehicle or truck business.
Mm-hmm.
So we serve actually both.
Yeah, and you guys are still involved in the motorsports segment too, right? Or racing?
Yeah, of course.
Performance. Yeah, got
We
it.
have a couple of teams where we have some sponsorship relationships. We have GT cars. We are involved in the truck racing championship, in the FIA European Truck Racing Championship. So we have another. It's a small series in Germany where they do drifting with cars. It's called Drift United. Also, interesting thing. So that's what we are doing.
Great. No, that's good. So let's talk about you for a second, your background. So your current role with Miley, so you lead all of the product management, product development for the brakes, but also some of the other components as well, right? The other segments.
Yeah. Okay. So let's start with myself.
Yeah.
So I'm 30 years old, which is still okay. And I've been now with Miley for almost 10 years. I started here as a product manager, started for the steering and suspension, our core competence. And about 5 years ago, I took over the lead for the so-called braking and drivetrain product team. You have to know that we work in product teams, not in departments.
Okay.
And my team, my colleagues are engineers for the development. They are product managers, product data managers, quality management, and of course, strategic purchasing. So that's my team. And to get a better understanding, what we take care of is when you take off the wheel from the front axle from your car, what you see there, this is mainly the part I cover with my team.
Okay.
Brake pads, brake discs, wheel hubs and bearings, the CV joints.
Got it. Got it. So wow. So do you have a technical background? Did you start off like an engineering side?
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
It's a special title. We call it State Certified Engineer in Germany. So yeah, I'm coming. I do have a technical background.
Got it. Okay, good. So so from a product perspective, those, obviously you guys have, a variety of wheel end parts, components, that sort of thing. So what percentage of brakes does that make up of your business right now? I mean, is it pretty balanced, or is one heavier than the other as far as the amount of revenue, sales, volume?
Yeah. So the core competence we have and where we came from is the steering and suspension.
Oh, okay.
Rubber to metal, rubber bushings. Mm-hmm. This is our core competence, and this is of course the biggest part of our business, which is about, let's say 50 to 60%. And right behind it, there are the braking. And for sure, this is one of the most worn out parts of the car, or the worn out part.
Yeah.
And, so it could be even bigger from my understanding.
Sure.
But you have to know that there are some bigger brands in the market. I don't want to make MEYLE small for braking, but when we talk about, I don't know, Brembo AT, Texar, and all brands, there's OE suppliers. Our position is directly behind them, so they want to be the first one.
Got it. Yeah. And in your role, so you oversee kind of everything from product development all the way through coordinating the efforts to launching the products, right?
Correct.
Yeah, got it. Okay. Now, from a business perspective, do you all, so you're based in Germany, and you obviously have business in Europe. Do you all supply to the U.S.? Do you supply over in Asia?
Right. Worldwide.
Worldwide. Okay, good.
It's about 120 countries in the world, almost everywhere. So
wow. Yeah. Okay, good. Great. All right. So speaking, being over in Germany, over in Europe, so there's a regulation, or standard regulation called ECE R90. Obviously, you're familiar with it. I'm actually not. I mean, I've heard of it, vaguely familiar, but I don't really know a whole lot about it. I mean, obviously, I know it's either like a quality or safety type standard. So please educate me a little bit about what this is, and I guess how does it affect you, your job, or like your company as you, I guess, launch products.
Yeah. All right. So, do you have enough time?
I'm here all day. Although I may run out of coffee, but
Okay, that's good. So make sure you don't run out of coffee.
Yeah.
All right. So the ECE in general, this is some kind of compliance. It is a frame about rules and regulations, safety rules and regulations for not only for spare parts, let's say for mainly automotive component parts.
Okay.
And there are many different requirements for the parts. If we talk about, I don't know, headlights or bumpers or brakes in this case. Mm-hmm. So we have to fulfill a lot of different requirements.
Okay.
And when it comes to brake pads and brake discs, so we talk about the regulation number 90.
Okay.
Specific. And this regulation for brake pads, for example, it requires from us that we have a limited window where we, for example, have to be with our friction value of the brake pads. So we cannot exceed, let's say, the top limit line, and we cannot under exceed the lower limit line.
I got it.
And so this is all the safety requirement to make sure that even the aftermarket brake pad, which may not be the original one, is performing on a certain level, so that even the customer who's buying the brake pad can be sure, all right, this is a good and approved and a tested product. And
got it. So how do you know, like, how do you verify that it passes? I mean, is there like an audit system? They come in and say, hey, you're doing these systems in place? to make sure that it's not, or is it more of a testing thing? You test it, it's good, you stamp it or whatever. I mean, how do you, I guess, how do you verify?
Yeah. So there are independent agencies. They are working together with government authorities. And these independent agencies, they are going out in the world. They audit all the different factories, not only ours. And after that, they have their own dynos. They do a lot of testings on the dyno, on the street. They have a look on all these different test values, and they gave the green or the red light to the government authorities. And if they say, all right, this brake pad is okay, it works well, it performs on the level we want to see, then you get a certification, a certificate. And this is unique for every single brake pad reference.
Oh, wow. Okay. So when you launch a new part number for, you know, say it's a new late model vehicle, whatever, and you launch a new aftermarket part number, it's got to go through all that. Then that individual part number pad has to be certified or.
Right.
Okay. Wow.
Exactly.
And is the R90, so is that just for pads, or like, does it also like for rotors, calipers, or is it different?
It also counts for brake rotors since November 2016. So for brake pads, it's valid since the 1990s.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. And for brake discs, for brake rotors, it came very late. For us, it was a little bit surprising because we were asking ourselves, hey, we have the pads here, but the disc is also very important. So since November 2016, it took place, and the requirements are a little bit different. Yeah. But there we talk about like how resistant are they to heat, for example.
Got it.
Yeah. So to make sure the brake disc will not break.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. So, you know, in the U.S., we have, you know, the Better Brakes law in the U.S., I guess, or, you know, what the state of Washington, maybe California, where, you know, it's the copper free. So maybe not the same, but, you know, kind of, I guess, similar. So do you all, since you all have business in the U.S. as well, so does that affect you, I guess, as well?
Of course, it affects us. On the other hand, the last 2 or a little bit more than 2 years, we spent a lot of efforts in the engineering department to get rid of the copper. And, it was not only based on the Washington state law, but we see it very positive that there is a law in the world which says, hey, please reduce your copper and other ingredients. So in 2025, the Washington state law forces the copper content below 0.5% based on weight. And I can say that today we already fulfill all requirements from the year 2025.
Oh, wow.
So just to sum it up, it means that the brake pads we ship to the US combines the best of both worlds. We have ECE R90 regulation for safety, and we fulfill the environmental requirements of the Washington state law, and this is what we ship to the North American market.
Got it. Yeah, no, that's an interesting point. So so when you ship overseas or internationally outside of Europe, obviously every one of your pads, every one of your braking components falls within the R90 standard or whatever.
Right.
And plus, in addition to that, if you send to the US, it's also got to comply with the Better Brakes law, I guess, with the copper free. Okay. Wow. Yeah. So there's
sometimes you have some regulations in the world which are not valid in every single country. And sometimes we try to pick and collect the best of everything and try to implement it to our products. It's not always possible for sure, but we're still doing our best.
Yeah, got it. Now over here in the U.S., so just kind of on that topic of North America. So do you all have business in North America? So do you have a team over here right now? Okay.
Yeah.
And then do you have the MEYLE brand? Is it still aftermarket? Is it OE or is it both?
It's aftermarket.
Okay. Got it. Okay. Gotcha.
But this is our expertise. This is where we want to be the best ones. So we want to serve the mechanics as, let's say, reliable as a friend.
Yeah, sure. Got it. Okay, great. So So, on the topic of, I guess, brake pads, so you all saw, or I remember earlier this year, you all launched the MEYLE PD brake pads. Is that correct? So that's an aftermarket, is it a commercial vehicle or is that a pass car?
We also have it for commercial vehicles. Yeah.
Okay.
They have been developed on the racetrack during the European Truck Race Championship.
Oh, wow.
And we have them for the passenger cars.
Okay.
And for passenger cars, when you compare, let's say, a standard aftermarket brake pad with our MEYLE PD brake pads, we have two different focus. All right. The MEYLE original brake pad, the focus is more on, let's say, comfort, low noise, and the focus with the MEYLE PD brake pads for passenger cars is on sportive. It's a very stiff brake pedal feeling, let's say, for the more dynamic drivers. When you want to go on the racetrack, also, for example, on the weekend. So this is the MEYLE PD brake pad. The issues we faced, and we also recognize from the market, is that the more sportive the brake pad is, the more chance you have that it creates some noise. And our development focus was also to keep the sportive performance, the dynamic performance, but on a low noise level. And that's where we introduced the next generation MEYLE PD brake pads beginning this year, 2019.
Oh, wow.
We are running very successful with these in the market. The feedback is excellent.
Great. No, that's good. That's good to hear. So when you launch that product, do you initially kind of launch it with a number of part numbers to cover maybe the most popular vehicles, and then do you kind of trickle in part numbers for maybe the lower volume or the older stuff, or when you launch it, you just launch it for every part number available? How does that work?
We launched them where we thought it's needed.
Yeah.
So with a MEYLE original parts range, we try to cover the whole car park. Yeah. So this is the mass volume product.
Yeah.
With the MEYLE PDs, we try to cover the cars where we see, let's say, the more dynamic, sportive, ambitious drivers. And so we have about 350 references for the moment. Still growing, but this will never become a program where we will set the focus on a wide range of products. We will keep it as a special product.
Got it. Yeah. And then do you also do you think of it, do you release it when you launch, and maybe not just the PD, MEYLE PD, but even just the other braking components, do you launch it with kind of a global mindset, or do you first focus on the European market first and then introduce it to different segments?
It depends.
Okay.
It depends. Sometimes we get some customer feedback, or we get a hint from the market from somewhere in the world. So then we first try to check internally if this makes sense for this market itself, or for this specific certain market, and then we try to go connected with our colleagues everywhere in the world, starting discussions with them, and then we will see if this is something just for, I don't know, the North American market, only for Germany, or maybe for Europe, or worldwide. It's always depending on many different factors.
Got it. Okay, good. Well, Stefan, I've had a great time today, man. I appreciate you.